When someone throws thorns in your path, fate has a way of turning those same thorns into the crown of their own downfall. That's the brutal beauty of cosmic balance. No act of sabotage escapes the hand of consequence. The universe doesn't negotiate. It mirrors back every intention, every scheme, every hidden dagger, until the critics who prayed for your collapse end up suffocating under the weight of their own shadows. Like moths dancing too close to the flame, they mistake their obsession for power, not realizing the fire only consumes them faster. And here you are, chosen ones, walking proof that every attempt to bury you only planted the seeds of your rise. While they whisper in circles, trying to stain your name, the universe aligns itself with your growth, lifting you higher with every attack. Their envy becomes your elevation. Their manipulation becomes your momentum. What they designed as poison turns to fuel in your bloodstream. The arrow aimed at your back, as I like to say, is the same arrow that launches you further than they could ever imagine. That's why your enemies tremble in silence, even when they smile in your face. The haunting truth for them is simple. The power of being chosen isn't just about shining, it's about exposing. Your presence forces their masks to slip, and the same energy they use to fight you becomes the fire that destroys their illusions. So before we unravel deeper into this truth, do one thing: like this video, subscribe, and lock in with the movement. Because what's coming next isn't just survival, it's domination. And every time they plot against you, they're only writing the chapters of your victory. Before we dive into the heart of this message, I need you locked in. Chosen ones, tonight we're pulling back the curtain on the secret competition happening right under your nose, the one where you are the dangerous prize everyone is fighting to claim. What you're about to hear will change how you see every friend, every ally, every smile in your circle. So here's what I want you to do right now. Smash that like button. Subscribe so this truth reaches other chosen ones, and drop the number 77 in the comments to show you're wide awake. Don't scroll away, because the deeper we go, the more you'll realize why they can't stop competing for your energy and why their downfall is already guaranteed. Number 1. Expose the silent blood sport before it consumes you. When your presence cuts through a room, it doesn't go unnoticed. It's not your clothes, your words, or even your actions that stir the air. It's the frequency you carry. Like an unspoken signal, it vibrates louder than any voice, sharper than any glance. And here's the truth they'll never admit out loud. They can't match it, they can't decode it, and they can't resist being drawn toward it. Imagine a lighthouse on a dark coast. Ships don't move toward it because they understand its mechanics. They move because survival demands it. That's you, a living beacon, a dangerous prize whose very energy flips their instincts into overdrive. The moment someone steps into your orbit, a calculation begins. Their subconscious, like a machine running in the background, starts mapping strategies, ways to get closer, ways to keep you near, ways to possess something that was never designed to be owned. For them, standing next to you feels like standing next to a generator that never runs out of power. The glow that is natural for you becomes their drug, their shortcut to confidence, influence, and control. And make no mistake, this addiction is fiercer than anything they could buy, drink, or inhale. Once they've tasted your presence, silence feels empty, and solitude feels like withdrawal. But here's the part that will flip your understanding upside down. They're not competing for your love, your trust, or your loyalty. That's just the mask. The real war is for access, the chance to tap into your essence like siphoning fuel from a tank. Every role they choose around you is nothing more than strategy. One friend slips in as your confidant, pretending to care, but what they want is access to your emotional codes. Another postures as your protector, acting as if they're shielding you, when in reality they're setting themselves up as the gatekeeper of your connections. Then there's the advisor, that one who always knows better, carefully shaping your decisions so that your wins are tied back to their fingerprints. These aren't random quirks. These are tactical moves in a silent game they didn't even realize they signed up to play. An elaborate operation designed to extract your value piece by piece. Parasites, yes, but not foolish ones. Parasites with strategy, with patience, with layers of masks so convincing that even you might forget the battlefield you're standing on. The competition doesn't begin when you catch them in the act. It begins the moment two or more of them realize the same thing at once. Proximity to you is a power-up they can't find anywhere else. And from that second on, the war isn't just about being close to you. It's about eliminating everyone else who dares to draw from the same source. Number 2. Recognize the science of energy predators and neutralize them. Chosen ones, let's cut straight to the heart of it. Energy predators aren't fiction, they're science in motion. The moment your frequency enters a room, the weaker minds register it like an alarm bell they can't silence. Their biology reacts before their conscious thoughts catch up. Just like animals sense dominance in a pack, humans sense power in their social circles. The science is simple. When your energy rises above theirs, their instincts flip from cooperation to competition. They don't see you as a friend anymore. They see you as a prize. This is why people who once laughed with you now keep quiet in your presence. Why some who claimed loyalty begin creating subtle conflicts, trying to pull you down to their level. It's not random jealousy. It's their nervous system responding to your higher frequency like prey responding to a predator in the wild. And here's the cruel twist. They can't stop themselves. Their subconscious screams, extract, compete, possess. But here's where your advantage destroys them. While they're driven by instinct, you operate by awareness. Once you recognize these patterns, you take back control of the game. Instead of feeding their hunger with your attention, you starve them. Instead of letting their envy infect you, you reflect it back until it consumes them. Neutralizing energy predators isn't about confrontation, it's about exposure. The moment their manipulations are visible, they lose power. Remember this: predators thrive in shadows, not in light. Your role is not to fight them head-on, but to stand so firmly in your awareness that their tactics collapse under their own weight. Their biology may push them to compete, but your mastery ensures their defeat. You're the dangerous prize, and every predator that circles you is already setting themselves up for failure. Number 3. Refuse the victim role and step into apex predator power. Chosen ones, the biggest mistake they want you to make is believing you're trapped, cornered, and powerless. That's the illusion. If you see yourself as the victim, they've already won half the battle. But here's the twist. You were never the prey. You've always been the apex predator, the silent storm that makes every weak spirit tremble. The difference is perception. While they plot in whispers, thinking they're circling you, you've been watching them expose themselves, one desperate move at a time. Think of it like a game of chess. They see you as the king, precious, immobile, always in need of protection. But in reality, you're the queen, the most dangerous piece on the board, moving in every direction while they exhaust themselves trying to anticipate your next strike. They mistake your patience for weakness, your silence for surrender, not realizing that still waters hide the deadliest depths. The predators circling you feed on illusion. They believe their manipulation is control, their schemes are strategy, their lies are power. But an apex predator doesn't compete. It dominates by presence alone. Sharks don't chase minnows. Lions don't argue with hyenas. They exist, and that existence alone commands respect. That's you. And the sooner you stop letting their noise define your worth, the sooner you'll see the truth. They're fighting shadows while you're holding the light that blinds them. Remember this: victims beg for survival. Predators set the rules of survival. You don't need to explain yourself, justify your power, or fight for their approval. The moment you refuse the victim role, the battlefield changes. Suddenly their claws slip, their masks crack, and their attacks collapse under their own weakness. That's the true power of the chosen. You haunt your enemies not by striking back, but by thriving where they swore you'd fall. Number 4. Disarm inferior energies, triggered by your frequency. When your frequency enters the room, it doesn't ask for permission, it dominates. Chosen ones, this is the moment when the fragile masks of those around you begin to crack. They don't know why their chest tightens, why their thoughts stumble, or why suddenly they feel the need to compare themselves against you like a shadow measuring itself against the sun. It's your presence. Your frequency is a mirror they never asked to look into, but once it's in front of them, they can't turn away. Inferior energies react to you the way flames react to oxygen, instant combustion. They can't match your rhythm, can't decipher the calm strength in your silence, and can't escape the haunting realization that you embody something they'll never manufacture. And that's when the real danger starts. Their instincts push them to compete, to claw, to find a crack in your armor. But here's the revelation they'll never understand. Every time they attempt to strike, they only prove your dominance. Disarming these energies doesn't mean lowering yourself or playing defense. It means standing unshaken while their own strategies eat them alive. Think of it like this: a storm cannot drown the mountain. It only wastes itself crashing against it. Your frequency is that mountain, untouchable, immovable, terrifying in its stillness. The harder they try to manipulate, the more their own insecurity is revealed. So the key is simple: never react on their level. Their drama is bait. Their jealousy is fuel they hope you'll ignite. Instead, let your silence suffocate them. Let your composure dismantle their illusions. Let your elevation make their noise irrelevant. The greatest weapon of the chosen is the refusal to bend to inferior energy. While they're busy scrambling to attack, you're already 3 steps ahead, untouched, unstoppable, undeniable. Number 5. Guard your light as the cosmic beacon they cannot own. Chosen ones, understand this. Your very presence is like a signal flare in the dead of night. You don't have to speak. You don't have to try. Your energy itself screams louder than a stadium of voices. It tells the world, here stands a force you cannot replicate. And that terrifies people more than they will ever admit. They circle you the way moths circle fire, not because they love the glow, but because they crave what burns within it. Every so-called friend, every critic in disguise feels the same pull. Their subconscious whispers the same desperate instructions. Get closer, tap into it, claim a piece of what isn't yours. And here's the cold truth: they don't want you. They want your charge. They want the rush they feel when your presence makes them look braver, smarter, or more powerful than they could ever be on their own. But a cosmic beacon doesn't belong to those who stumble in its glow. It cannot be stolen, caged, or diluted. It only exposes who's real and who's rotten. That's why you must guard it like a fortress. Don't mistake flattery for loyalty. Don't confuse attention for respect. Their obsession with you is less about admiration and more about survival, because when you step out of their reach, the lights go out and they're left drowning in their own shadows. Remember this: the beacon was never built for them. It was built by you, for you. The fire inside you doesn't weaken when they fail to claim it. It intensifies, blinding their envy and haunting their nights. Protect it. Nurture it, because every failed attempt to own your light only proves what they've feared all along. Your power was never theirs to touch. Number 6. Detect the positioning phase early and break their hold. Chosen ones, the first strike in this hidden war never comes as a scream. It slips in as a whisper. The positioning phase is the silent maneuver, the opening act where those around you begin carving out roles in your life, not to support you, but to anchor themselves to your power. They dress it up as loyalty, kindness, or being there for you, but don't be fooled. It's the scaffolding of control being built right under your nose. Watch closely. The one who suddenly insists on being your confidant isn't doing it to lighten your burden. They're probing for emotional codes, blueprints of your weaknesses they can use later. The friend who constantly volunteers to help with your projects isn't driven by generosity. They're weaving dependency, making sure you feel like nothing moves without their presence. Even the so-called advisor, always ready with an opinion about your decisions, isn't guiding you. They're subtly steering you so that your victories always feel tied to them. These are not coincidences. These are calculated positions on the battlefield, moves in a game where the prize is your essence. If you miss these signs early, the trap tightens. They begin demanding updates, monitoring who else you spend time with, and inserting themselves into spaces that once belonged only to you. Their goal is simple: to monopolize your energy before anyone else can. But here's your counterstrike. Recognize the game before it plays out. Withdraw the oxygen of validation they feed on. Set boundaries that choke their attempts to embed themselves as indispensable. The earlier you see the positioning phase, the faster you dismantle it. Remember this: you are not a prize to be positioned around. You are the battlefield itself. And anyone trying to claim a role in your story without earning it will choke on their own strategy. Number 7. Use the mirror effect to reveal their hidden weakness. Chosen ones, here's where your power becomes their greatest nightmare. You don't even need to fight, argue, or prove anything. Your presence alone does the damage. You are the mirror they can't escape, and every time they look at you, they see the truth of who they really are. Your calm, steady energy throws their inner chaos into sharp focus. Your ability to stand tall under pressure highlights how quickly they crack under the slightest weight. The contrast slices them open like glass, exposing insecurities they've spent years trying to bury. Think about it. When you move through storms without breaking, when you solve problems without begging for approval, when you remain unshaken while they scramble for attention, it gnaws at them. They can't understand how you do it, so their admiration curdles into resentment. They want to believe you're just like them, but your consistency proves otherwise. That's the torment. Your existence makes them face everything they've avoided about themselves. The mirror effect is cruel to your enemies because it doesn't lie. They see your independence, your self-sufficiency, your refusal to need validation, and it haunts them. While they chase likes, applause, and constant reassurance, you move freely without begging for recognition. It drives them insane because it confirms what they've always feared. Without attachments, without your energy, they are nothing. This is the twist they never planned for. In trying to compete with you, they only expose their weakness. In trying to measure up, they only reveal their emptiness. And in the end, your silence, your unbothered glow, and your refusal to stoop down becomes the sharpest weapon of all. Number 8. Outsmart sabotage before it erodes your relationships. Chosen ones, sabotage is the ugliest stage of this secret competition, and it's where the masks finally start slipping. When positioning and fake loyalty fail, your so-called allies sharpen their knives in silence. They don't attack you directly, not yet. Instead, they twist the air around you, planting invisible traps that are meant to fracture your circle until you stand alone. Watch closely. One friend suddenly forgets to tell you about an invite. Another whispers half-truths designed to make you suspicious of someone else, while another conveniently has a crisis at the exact moment you're supposed to shine. This is not coincidence, it's strategy. They study you like predators in the wild, noting who makes you laugh, who you confide in, and who gets closest to your core. Then they weaponize that knowledge, turning subtle digs into psychological shrapnel. "Oh, she's nice, but not really at your level," they'll say. Or, "He tries, but he'll never really understand you." Those lines are not compliments, they're poison disguised as praise. Their goal is to weaken every bond you have, so that your energy belongs to them alone. But here's where the tables flip. Sabotage only works on people who don't know they're the prize. The second you recognize these tactics, you render them powerless. You stop feeding into staged crises. You stop explaining yourself when they push for answers you don't owe. And most importantly, you stop reacting. Because nothing terrifies a saboteur more than silence. Understand this: their need to break your relationships exposes their own fragility. While they sink deeper into desperation, you rise higher by doing nothing but standing firm. That's the irony. They orchestrate sabotage, but end up sabotaging themselves. And chosen ones, that's how you outsmart the game every time. Number 9. End the direct warfare by standing untouchable in truth. When the masks finally slip, the quiet whispers and subtle games explode into open fire. This is the stage where your so-called friends stop pretending. The competition is no longer about charm or strategy, it's raw survival. They launch their attacks in the open, tearing at each other with claws bared, because deep down they know only one thing: you are the prize. They've spent months positioning, sabotaging, and manipulating, but when those tactics fail, desperation drags them into direct warfare. Suddenly, the compliments turn into accusations, the laughter into slander, the smiles into daggers aimed at anyone who threatens their access to you. But here's the part they never expected. While they're clawing each other apart, you remain untouchable. You're not scrambling for validation. You're not playing defense. You're standing in truth, calm, grounded, and immune to their chaos. Think of it like a storm raging around a mountain. The winds scream, trees snap, lightning cracks, but the mountain doesn't flinch. That's you. And your stillness terrifies them more than any counterattack could. The irony is brutal. In fighting over you, they expose their own weakness. They reveal their jealousy, their fear, their hunger, and in doing so, they destroy the very image they tried to project. The war they started ends up being their undoing, because truth doesn't need an army. It dismantles lies on its own. Chosen ones, this is the moment where you win without lifting a finger. By refusing to step into the mud, you rise above it. Your untouchable presence becomes the blade that cuts through their illusions. While they burn themselves out, you're already moving forward, sovereign, undefeated, and more powerful than ever. Number 10. Trust the cosmic sorting to remove parasitic attachments. Chosen ones, you need to understand something brutal yet liberating. You don't have to expose every fake, fight every enemy, or chase down every snake in your circle. The universe has already built a sorting mechanism sharper than any blade. It uses your very presence as the trigger. When you walk into the room, masks slip, pretenses crumble, and the parasites can't help but reveal themselves. Their envy is their confession, their sabotage is their signature, their obsession is the proof you were waiting for. This cosmic sorting isn't some distant theory. It's a living process happening in real time. While they believe they're playing smart games against you, they're actually tightening the noose around their own necks. Lies they spread circle back. Manipulation they try to weave tangles them in their own traps. They isolate themselves while thinking they're isolating you. That's the irony. The harder they fight for your energy, the faster they eliminate themselves from your world. And here's the hard truth they can't bear. Your energy doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't beg, it filters. It doesn't cling, it refines. Sooner or later, the ones who approached you with hunger instead of honesty, possession instead of respect, will be forced to bow out. Not because you argued, not because you fought, but because their own behavior disqualifies them. The secret competition they started was never your problem to solve. The universe runs the scoreboard. All you have to do is trust the process and keep shining. Watch carefully. Those who truly value you will remain calm in the chaos, while those with hidden agendas will self-destruct under the weight of their own games. That is the sorting, that is the purge, and in the end, only the real ones survive near you. Number 11. Watch karmic reckoning collapse every manipulator. Chosen ones, there's one thing your enemies never factor into their calculations. Balance always comes collecting. Every whisper, every backstab, every carefully engineered lie they thought would cage you becomes the rope they eventually trip over. Manipulators believe they're masterminds, but what they truly are is architects of their own collapse. The energy they hurl at you doesn't vanish into thin air. It circles back with precision, sharper than any blade. You've seen it already. The one who planted doubts about you ends up drowning in rumors about themselves. The friend who tried to pit others against you suddenly finds their own circle turning cold, suspicious, fragmented. The rival who fed on your light like a parasite ends up starving when their schemes dry out and no one trusts their mask anymore. That's karmic math, chosen one. It doesn't negotiate, it multiplies. Here's the cruel twist for them. Their obsession with you is exactly what speeds up their downfall. Like gamblers who keep doubling their bets, they invest more lies, more tricks, more manipulation, convinced they're closing in on victory. But every move only digs the hole deeper, until collapse isn't just inevitable, it's dramatic, public, irreversible. And where are you while this happens? Untouched, elevated, watching from above as the storm they created devours them piece by piece. Their losses, friends, reputation, sanity become proof of your resilience. You don't even have to lift a finger. The reckoning works on autopilot. This is the brutal justice of being a dangerous prize. Every manipulator ends up crushed beneath the weight of their own strategy. Their end isn't punishment, it's consequence. And you, chosen one, remain standing, more powerful because of it. Number 12. Claim final victory as the untouchable chosen one. When the smoke clears and the masks collapse, only one truth remains. Chosen one, you were never their victim. You were the battlefield itself, the storm they couldn't survive, the mirror that exposed what they spent years trying to bury. Every scheme, every whispered lie, every trap set in the shadows has already folded back onto them like a snake choking on its own tail. That is the law of balance. Their hunger for your light became the very poison that consumed them. Understand this. Your victory isn't loud, and it doesn't require spectacle. You don't need to announce it or prove anything. Your victory is in your survival, in your growth, in the way you stand untouched while they drown in the chaos they engineered. Their obsession with pulling you down only pushed you higher. Their need to own you only reminded you how dangerous you truly are when you belong to no one. Enemies whisper that you think you're above them. What they don't admit is that your presence has already made them feel smaller. Your independence haunts them. Your discipline crushes them. and your ability to thrive without their validation torments them more than any words ever could. That's why they compete, sabotage, and scramble. It isn't about love or friendship. It's about survival in the presence of someone who proves every day that freedom is possible. So claim your throne quietly but completely. You don't chase, you don't beg, you don't compete. You are the prize, the fire, the untouchable frequency that rewrites every game you're pulled into. They've already lost, not because you fought harder, but because you never played by their rules. Remember this, the most dangerous victory is the one earned in silence. Because by the time they realize you've won, it's already too late. And this is where everything comes full circle. Chosen one, the war they waged around you was never yours to fight. Their desperation exposed their weakness, while your calm revealed your strength. You didn't just survive the secret competition, you ended it without lifting a finger. Remember this, you are the dangerous prize, the untouchable force, the one they could never cage. If this message hit you with the clarity you've been waiting for, hit that like button, subscribe to join the movement, and drop 111 in the comments to claim your victory.